Dude, if I worried about every who didn't like me, I'd never wake up in the morning. It's the nature of success. When You Finish Saving the World is now streaming on Netflix, and I'm excited to share my thoughts on it. It got a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm gonna share if whether or not I agree with that. We'll get into the characters and more, but first, I got some trivia for you. It's about one of the stars of When You Finish Saving the World, Julianne Moore. My question is, how many Oscars does the legendary, iconic Julianne Moore have? Is it A, 1, B, 2, C, 3, or D, 4? Let's see if you can get this without cheating, okay? And if you don't know, just take a guess, take a guess, the legendary, iconic Julianne Moore. How many Oscars would you guess that she has? While you figure that out, let's talk about Julianne for a little bit. Julianne Moore has decades of acting under her belt, including her roles in The Hunger Games, The Fugitive, one of my faves, The Hours, and more recently, May December, which, I really just love that movie. It was dramatic and just so well done to me.
You are so sweet. We're so happy to have you.
So, how many Oscars does the actress have? The answer is A, 1. I know, that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I'm like, Julianne Moore has just one Oscar? I mean, it's a big accomplishment, don't get me wrong, but I guess I just assumed that she had a lot more than that. She won for her 2014 role in Still Alice. And she won for Best Actress in a Leading Role, which kudos to Julianne. She absolutely deserved it.
Thank you so much. I read an article that said that winning an Oscar could lead to living 5 years longer. If that's true, I'd really like to thank the Academy because my husband is younger than me.
Now, let's get into When You Finish Saving the World, now streaming on Netflix. As I mentioned, it received 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I do not agree with that. Listen, I loved this movie more than I thought I would. It surprised me. I enjoyed the shit out of this movie. It consists of a small, dysfunctional family that consists of a mother, her husband, and their son. It mostly follows the mom, played by Julianne Moore, and her son, played by Finn Wolfhard, who we all know from Stranger Things, which, by the way, I am definitely looking forward to the final season. I'm waiting on that. Julianne's character, Evelyn, is a very stiff mom/social worker who works at a women's shelter. She's a bit of a control freak, simple home life with her husband, and discovers her son, who does live streaming. He's a musician, he sings and plays guitar, and actually has a large following. And Evelyn doesn't seem to be impressed with it, at all. None of them, the parents nor the son, seem to get along with each other. At one point, the son, Ziggy, told both parents to shut the fuck up, and I'm like, I will say that Evelyn does kind of make little gestures to kind of spend more time with Ziggy, but he's always too busy. He has such a crush on Lila from school, who is played by Alicia Bowe, who we all know from 13 Reasons Why. She's a high school student who is a huge activist and humanitarian. She is constantly curving Ziggy, who doesn't seem to have any game at one point, okay? He knows she's into politics, and he's definitely interested in trying to connect with her through that route, which might be the only route to connect with her, because she's into it, okay? She's really into it. Ziggy even asks his mom, Evelyn, if she thinks he's political. She tells him no, and that he needs to do the work to connect with his peers. And Evelyn, she means well, but she never goes about saying things the right way. She has this air about her. You know what I mean? And it's not cute. No teenager is gonna wanna listen to you. She really does want to connect with Ziggy and even gets emotional at one point while trying to do so. And to me, Evelyn doesn't realize, I think a lot of parents don't realize, is that Ziggy is always listening to her. He's not uninterested. He may act uninterested, but he's always listening to her, and we see that throughout the film. Evelyn, who cannot control her son Ziggy, meets Kyle, who is the son of a woman who is a domestic abuse survivor. She meets him at the shelter she works at. Kyle is the same age as Ziggy, and they even attend the same high school together. But we don't see any interaction with them, I notice. Evelyn gets Kyle some work so that he can earn some money and pretty much ends up telling him that you can do more with your life than end up working at your father's auto repair shop. And it is a kind gesture, but again, it's just a little airy, a little pompous. You know what I'm saying? In ways, she kind of pounces on Kyle and gets very involved with his life. She even starts looking at college rankings on his behalf and pushes him to pursue a practical career, is what she says. She's basically trying to push Kyle into the mold that Ziggy rejected years ago. She even ends up giving Kyle an old hat that Ziggy owned, as well as taking Kyle to Ziggy's favorite Ethiopian restaurant. You see that while Kyle is connecting with one of her friends, speaking in Spanish, that she gets a little jealous and she's like, okay, that's enough, let's go. She's like, this is like her project, this is like her new son. Evelyn had plans for Kyle. Ziggy's father, he's kind of spaced out. None of them really support each other. Ziggy's father had an event and both Ziggy and Evelyn missed it and, just really thought nothing of it. It seems it's like, oh, okay, girl, well, the father, like a lot of fathers of that generation, don't have an emotional connection with his son, Ziggy. He and Ziggy were having dinner at home one night while Evelyn was out with Kyle at the Ethiopian restaurant. And his father asks Ziggy, he's like, are you happy, son? And then you kind of see, Ziggy perk up a little bit. Like, oh, my father is expressing emotional interest in me. And then soon realizes that his father was only asking because he was reading an article related to teen suicide. And then you see Ziggy like deflate a little bit, like, oh, he doesn't actually care. We then see Ziggy go to like this open mic night thing where he plans to sing a song and Lila's there and she recites this poem. It is a deep poem, girl. I mean, Lila is pro-politics and pro-humanity and, it's great, but it's like, it is her whole existence. It's her entire personality. So if you're not going to talk politics, you probably cannot go and talk to Lila. And that's why she wasn't giving Ziggy the time of day. That's why she kept curbing him. Okay? So she recites this poem. Ziggy is blown away by it. He even asks her for it. He's like, can I keep that? And she's like, oh, she's like a little intrigued that he's intrigued by her poem. So Ziggy takes the poem home and then he makes it into a song, okay? And so he goes and he sees Lila again. He's like, can I play you this song? And she's like, like she's just very much, I guess so, still very much uninterested. But she lets him sing the song for her. And she's blown away. And listen, I was kind of blown away too. I was like, okay, Ziggy. Ziggy, he may not have the game when it comes to talking, but the boy can write a song. He mostly did that because she knew about his online platform, that he had a big following, and she said that you should use your platform for good. You should use your platform to inspire and to raise awareness for certain political events. Back to Evelyn, who has been spending lots of time with Kyle. She meets up at the shelter where Kyle's mom is like, girl, listen, I'm gonna need you to fall back on my son. I'm gonna need you to just take a couple steps back. He is not interested in going to college, girl. He will be working at his father's shop, and there's nothing wrong with that. So Evelyn is just like, you can tell she's flabbergasted. You can tell she is taken aback, all right? Because she was invested into what I call her project, Kyle. Back to Kyle, who is on cloud 9 after impressing Lila with the song he wrote inspired by her poem. So he goes to her while she's at school and she's sitting with her friends and he's like, you were so right about me using my platform. His concern about that was not making money from it. But then he was like, he told Lila, I actually ended up, singing the song on my live stream, but I also made a good amount of money from it. And then that pissed Lila the fuck off. And I'm like, why is she so bothered? Like, she was really upset about that. And, I get it. She is pro-humanity and, pro-politics. But Ziggy has to make money. Musicians, artists, they gotta make money. Okay? Like, I was just like, girl, why are you so mad that he made money from his live stream? Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Meanwhile, Evelyn runs a stop sign, almost unalives herself, rushes down to the school so she can see Kyle and talk to Kyle about what she talked to his mother about him not wanting to go to college. And then she's just like, you don't have to do this. Then simultaneously, we see Lila digging up into Ziggy, talking about, you exploited me and you exploited the people on the Marshall Islands. She then refers to him as a little boy, which I'm like, you just destroyed this teenager's life by saying, like, Back to Evelyn, where she's talking to Kyle, saying that now is the time to invest in your future. Rambles on, and Kyle says to her, stop it. Oh, he shuts the whole operation down. You know, he's just not interested in going to college. Like, let the boy do what he want to do, girl. But then he says, you know, will me not going to college mean that you'll put me and my mom out of the shelter? Because she really feels safe here. And then Evelyn assures him, no, I like your future and you and your mom staying here is not, they have nothing to do with each other. They're completely separate. We then hear Ziggy in the hall punching his locker, and then that's when Kyle walks past him and we finally see them interact for the first time. Kyle is wearing Ziggy's hat. You know, they pass by each other. It was a really cute moment. They're both just frustrated and dealing with so much. Both of them are dealing with Evelyn when you think about it. They're both putting up with Evelyn shit. And they're both noticeably tired. In the end, we see Evelyn in her office, Googling and looking up Ziggy's work, his music, his live streaming. You could tell that she's moved by it. It was really sweet. It was a nice little emotional moment. For me mostly. It was really cute. Ziggy pops up at her job randomly and hears her listening to him, and that's where the movie ends. There is a scene that I didn't talk about. It was the scene where Ziggy and Evelyn get into this argument, which, you know, Evelyn just really shut him down and just belittled him for wanting to do music and be a musician, and that's why she was such a bitch, okay? But aside from that, Julianne Moore just executed this role so well. She played it so perfectly. I think she's brilliant. I think she's a genius. I just love the dynamic between her and between Ziggy, and then between Ziggy and Lila, and then between Evelyn and Kyle. I just love the dynamic, and I love just the storytelling of it all. It was a simple film, but I was just really drawn to it. And I love like the video game-esque music that they had. Look, I highly recommend this movie. I'm probably gonna watch it again because I thought it was so good. I love Julianne Moore. I thought Finn did a great job as well. I didn't even hear about it. I saw it on Netflix and I was like, oh, Julianne Moore, gonna watch, naturally. If you watch When You Finish Saving the World, whether you enjoyed it or not, let me know in the comments. I'm curious. If you learned anything about this video, or you enjoyed it, or you laughed, or you cried, or you called me stupid, or whatever, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.